On this episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, it's all about expectations. Whether it's Sean Payton, Vance Joseph, Bo Nix, this team, what are the expectations for the Denver Broncos in 2025? I want to get your thoughts. Make sure you're jumping in there in the comments. Give me your questions. Give me your thoughts. We go live right now. Let's go. Hey, Broncos country, welcome in. It's another episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. And man, it's a Friday night. It's the beginning of Memorial Day weekend. Thank you for everybody who's jumping in here, starting this weekend off with us, off with me. And that brings me into why there's only one person on the screen. It's only going to be me, it looks like, this evening. As you know, typically Friday night, I'm rocking here with the Rocket Man himself, Mr. Trevor Salzman. Trevor Salzman lives in the northeast corner of Colorado. I want everyone's thoughts, prayers, blessings to go out towards him. They're under a tornado warning. My obviously sent across all of my thoughts for him and his family, and waiting to hear back. I'll update you if I can, if I see any messages come through. Again, just thoughts towards Trevor and what he's going through, obviously, right now, even if nothing else, some severe weather that's rolling through that area. So I'm going to be rocking with you all this evening, just kind of solo. And so you're going to have to help me carry the show. So get in there, get your thoughts, get your ideas, get your comments. We're talking about the Denver Broncos and the expectations that we have for them in the 2025 season. Maybe we'll take a look at what 2024 looked like. I have some stats all pulled up as far as that's concerned. I want to get your guys, everyone's thoughts, guys, gals, everyone, what your thoughts are on this Denver Broncos team. I'm going to jump in, see what the posse is jumping in here and talking about as we speak. Graham's coming in here giving us the good old mile high salute, and also giving some top rope right off the top ideas and thoughts. Anything worse than a 10-7 record is unacceptable. Is acceptable. Anything worse than 10-7 is unacceptable. I see what we're doing there. Do you agree, Broncos country? The rest of Broncos country, do you believe that 10-7 is where we need to be at a minimum in this upcoming season? Ernie May is coming in and he's giving his thoughts overall. Hello, Four Horsemen. Go Broncos country only. 13-4-0 and beyond. He's looking at a 13-win season. That's the second time I've heard Ernie come out and state that. I take it that's a book it type of number for Ernie Mays at this point. I write that in pen, not in pencil. Time to win a playoff game. And I agree there. It is past due. Broncos country, I think first and foremost, as much as I want to get that playoff win, to really go someplace, let's hope that we're looking at an AFC championship. Sean Payton talked about it. I think even Bo Nix even might have mentioned it as well. But absolutely, we need to be thinking about an AFC West championship and start moving forward. We need to move past this Kansas City Chiefs dominate and all the rest of us just fight for scraps. I'm done with it. I think we need to get past that point. I think there's reasons to have expectations in 2025. Give me just a moment. I'm going to wet the whistle. Mm. Um, Graham, yeah, coming in here saying, yeah, tornadoes are very scary. So that's why my thoughts are out for Mr. Salzman and his family. So please take care out there. So, more more predictions coming in. Sorry, Pearl's coming in here and saying hello to everybody, and hello to Graham, and hello to me and everybody. But Pearl's coming in. She's saying, I feel like it's an 11-6 type of season. Ernie May is coming in and saying, oh, we will be champions. Think big, not 31 teams small. Yeah. Well, I wanted to get in, like I said, expectations. I think there was some things that really jumped out in my mind when I started looking back at the 2024 overall numbers. Now, I want to just run through like defense-wise. Now, keep in mind, this is a defense that we did get a lot of pieces added to. You know, in the offseason, we go out, we get Dre Greenlaw, we get Talanoa Hufanga. Those are expected to be huge, huge pieces in this Denver Broncos defense. I'm sorry. Huge, huge pieces. And then here we are sitting with the 20th overall pick. Everyone in the world thinks we're going, hey, maybe we'll go get that running back, Amarian Hampton, sitting there. Maybe we'll go out and get a wide receiver because I could see Sean Payton doing that. Is it the tight end position, even though there's been a run already? No, we go out and get Jahdae Barron. This defense got invested into this offseason. Now, there was obviously some departures, but that didn't necessarily affect the defense itself. Now, when we start running through some of these stats, just really quick, most points allowed. Now, if you're on a most points allowed, you don't want to be the number one in the most points allowed on defense. You want to be at the bottom, number 32. Where did the Broncos come in at? Number 30. Same with points allowed, obviously, per game, 30th. Most yards per game, 26th. This is where it starts hitting the road, though. Most passing yards per game came in at 14th overall. And most passing yards overall on this defense. I don't think most Broncos fans would have expected that, especially when you start looking at most rushing yards per game. And we keep saying we got ran over. Everybody ran all over us. Most rushing yards per game, 30th. 96.4 yards last year per game this defense gave up on the ground. That was the most surprising stat that I saw on here. That we ranked so well on rushing yards per game, 96.4. Those passing yards is what was actually, if you look at it statistically, is what ate up this Denver Broncos defense. So what are we going to do, or what have we done in order to make this defense better? Like I said, I want you all to be helping me carry this conversation. I want your thoughts on, have we done enough in order to go out there and, secure that passing defense into, a top 10 type of defense? Because right now we're not. We're looking at really the 18th best or 14th worst, whatever you want to say. It's not where you want to be if you want to continue forward. And this brings me right to what I think what's going to be one of the biggest camp battles out there. And that's what Jahdae Barron is going to be able to go out there and compete with, and where he's going to compete, and how much that's going to change the way this defense operates and maybe change this overall ranking. That's my thoughts. Graham says, yeah, we used to get torched. Sign JFM and Allen long-term, and I'll feel better. That does make you feel better. Obviously, if you look at Zach Allen, this is the guy that probably should be the easiest decision to lock up and get done and feel good about it. Just the overall motor that guy had last year. What Zach Allen put on tape week after week after week, there is no reason that Zach Allen shouldn't get his money. John Franklin Myers. We all love John Franklin Myers and what he brought to this defense. And he's part of this 30th, again, basically number 3 overall, only 96.4 yards per game given up on average, only 1,639 yards given up on the ground last year. Man, that defense really did eat up running backs in the long run, because it plays out as much as the lasting memories of the Buffalo Bills and Cook just running all over us. It didn't play out that way for the majority of the season, obviously, through the 17-game season, right? It was that passing defense that we needed to get all locked up. But John Franklin Myers is a huge part of this, Graham. Huge part of this. Now, did we go out and did we secure that in some of our later round draft picks? Do we have more guys that we can bring into that rotation? Does Malcolm Roach become a bigger piece of the interior defensive line, thinking that maybe we don't get John Franklin Myers taken care of? I'd love to get him taken care of from what we saw from him. And I don't think most of Broncos country would disagree. There is something that needs to be said about continuing to add youth and draft well and get production out of your draft picks. Being young and being, good with your dollar, I guess. You want to sign all these guys long term, but at some point the rubber will hit the road, and you don't want to push all that money down the line. But sometimes you do, especially if you have expectations like I think the Denver Broncos have in 2025. Dan's coming in here and says, here's my concern. Can Dre Greenlaw stay healthy? And if not, who is the backup? Might be one of the better questions on this defense for the night. I honestly, Hufanga is just as big of a concern. Dre Greenlaw did come back, limited stint at the end of the 49er season. They wanted to give him a couple games, get him out there. Seemed like he played well. He did have a setback already. That's not what we want to hear as Denver Broncos fans. But what are you going to do? You got to move forward on that. Now, all indications are he's coming in. He's going to be healthy. He's going to be ready. He's going to be 100% ready to go. Training camp. That'll be interesting to see if that's 100% the case. But if he has a setback, who is going to be that backup? Dan, in my opinion, this is the year that Drew Sanders needs to step up. I mean, Lavelle Bailey, Alex Singleton, those are your options. You'd sure like to see some development out of Drew Sanders. And he's not going to be an edge at this point. He's going to be playing that inside role. So it's time for Drew Sanders to kind of step up, in my opinion. This is a big year for Drew Sanders. It's a big year for some of the draft picks that we saw in these recent years, whether they're going to actually develop or whether they're going to kind of fall out. Just one more. He says the Denver Broncos definitely got better with the safety position. Obviously talking about Hufanga as well there. I hope Barron can be good. I think there's a larger Roy's coming in over on Facebook saying that as well. I think there's a more than a hope than Jahdae Barron can be good. It's kind of a need. It's kind of a must. I mean, again, there's going to be a lot of players that you're going to be able to compare, especially with the Chargers selecting so close to you, and the players that I think that were available later in that first round. It's going to be interesting to look back at this draft just because it wasn't highlighted by big, huge names that were just obvious and evident, especially when it came to the quarterback position. So that kind of pushed everything down and around throughout this draft. And it'll be one of those drafts I think you look back at and like, wow, I can't believe that guy went number 20th, Jade Barron, maybe, or that guy went in this pick or that pick. That was so much later. Look at the great value. I could see that being the case out of this draft. Jade Barron, I think, is going to be competing basically for the number 2 position. I think he has the ability to play outside as much as he does to play inside. I think when opposing offenses take the field and they're in that 21 personnel and they only have 2 wide receivers out there, that might be Jade Barron over Riley Moss or obviously McMillan. Or, yeah, did I say that right? Jaquan McMillan, yeah. Yeah, I think that there's more expectations there, Roy, than just a hope, and I guess that's one of the biggest positives that we can maybe add to this defense is, like I pointed out, their passing defense is the whole. It's obviously, as far as that's concerned. Also, by the way, number 1 in sacks, number 3 in interceptions, number 1 in interceptions that were returned for touchdowns. Could you get more forced fumbles? 19th best in forced fumbles and number 8 in hurries. So not only are we stopping the run, but we're getting after the quarterback at a pretty good click as well. That's not translating though as well to the back end. We're 14th overall. So 8th in hurries, 14th overall in passing yards. There's an improvement that needs to be happening there. I'm going to be going down. By the way, anybody that's joined us a little bit after the initial start of the episode, Trevor's out this evening. I'm running a solo show. Trevor's in tornado warnings. So we're giving all our thoughts to him right now. We're talking a little bit about Denver Broncos expectations in 2025, just talking about this defense currently. And kind of where we're at. Just want to let everybody know what's going on so that we're not caught off guard. Going to try to get to all the stars as much as I can. Might be a little bit tougher this evening. And if I get a update from Mr. Trevor Salzman letting me know that he's okay, I'll pass that along as soon as I possibly can if we're on the air. Dan says agreed. I'll lock Zach Allen up for now, and also JFM though. Like I said, lots and lots of love, I think, for JFM. I'm going to hit Phil real quick here. Good evening, Keith. I think with the free agent pickups and the draft, we will improve on the D. Yeah, I mean, on paper, this all looks good. One of the things we talked about, losses and how from a player standpoint, we didn't necessarily see any losses that affected the defense to note. But when you start talking about maybe coaching, I think there is something to be said. I don't want to overlook the fact that whether it be Michael Wilhoit that was let go after an incident in a Denver airport, and that's as far as I want to go on that. I don't know if it's the whole story behind it and the whole justification behind it, and that's as deep as I want to go. Greg Minuski was also let go, and by the way, he outside linebacker, pretty big key piece that a lot of people said was a nice big component of what Nick Benito was able to do was related to Michael Wilhoit. So take it for what you want, but under his coaching, is what we saw. That is what we saw. I don't even know if that's proper English. That's what we saw was Nick Benito and other, let's face it, outside linebackers really start to step up their game. Again, Nick Benito didn't even start the year as the starter. It was Barron and Cooper. Barron ends up going to Arizona. Cooper stays on there, and Cooper puts up a fantastic year as well. Their position coach is now gone, as well as Greg Minuski was let go. New inside linebackers coach. So there's change and there's turnover on this defense that we'll have to start looking for. And there's plenty of people already saying if this defense doesn't start hot, that Vance Joseph should be gone. And then we should see Jim Leonard jump in there and take the spot. So, there's a lot of change on this defense. It may not be in the player personnel, but from the coaching standpoint, there is some turnover. And for some, thinking maybe even the Vance Joseph's on the hot seat in his third year here with Sean Payton, piloting the defense. Just going to scroll through some comments, see what we got going on here. Dan saying, I see the Broncos going 12-5. Yes, go Broncos. We went through some predictions last week. I really want to see training camp and all this play out. A couple of you just mentioned it. Dre Greenlaw is maybe a concern. Talanoa Hufanga may be a concern. Alex Singleton could be a concern, or, what does that competition at that inside linebacker look like at that point? If he's coming in and not 100% or has a setback, there's a lot of questions, let alone I've been there. I've been present. I saw players go down, I saw, injuries happen out there, and it's happens to some of the players you never expect them to. Knock on wood, we don't see any of that. But that being said, it's part of the game. It's part of what happens. So we don't know. And I think that, that's the big one. So Drew Sanders time, says Dan as well. We're kind of getting back to, who needs to step up in that inside linebacker role if Dre Greenlaw does ever have a setback. See a question coming in. What would you say was the theme of the draft class for the Broncos? Character. I would say I had to put one word on it, it was character. 3 out of the first 4 or 3 out of the first 5 were captains on their football team. If you look at the type of athletes that they're bringing in, Sean Payton said in his presser beforehand, it is now on us as coaches, as scouts, as personnel, to make sure we pick the right players that are going to fit the culture that we already have going on in that locker room. It's all on us, because that's the expectations now we've set for those players. Those players should expect that of us, to go out there and get the right type of guys to come in there. I think they got character players. I don't think that you're going to have any issues in the locker room. I think these guys are locked into the game. They're students of the game. They're going to go in there and they're going to put their, nose to the grindstone and be the best possible athletes they can on the field. And that's all you can ever want of any player drafted. Yeah, sometimes you want that paired with the absolute, premier talent. But we've seen plenty of instances where there's premier talent that has a lack of character, and how quickly that can phase out of the NFL. I love the high character way that they've went, and that would definitely be the theme. Great question, man. Great question. I love that. Roy Osborne says, zone defense stinks. We can be better. This is my concern, though. If that happens to be the case, Roy, that's the place that you'll see Jahdae Barron absolutely thrive. He eats up wide receivers, quarterbacks. He gets breakups. He gets interceptions. He thrives when he can have his eyes in the backfield, be able to survey and go. He's a true athlete in that regard. Patrick Surtain, yeah, maybe he's a better lockdown type of corner. be stride for stride. You know what I mean? Not necessarily be looking into the backfield. Same with maybe a Riley Moss. Jahdae Barron's going to be a different guy. And that's one of the things that I think maybe will change your opinion on zone is if we get guys like Jahdae Barron on the field and playing, because it's not like Riley Moss can't or Patrick Surtain can't, but you got to have everyone playing together, including those linebackers. That's a big piece. That's why Dre Greenlaw was a big pickup. That's why Talanoa Hufanga, the safety who comes down or needs to float in a zone, that's why that's big. This is going to be a different type of defense if we're healthy all the way across the board. By the way, Phil, when he came in with his original, came in with some stars. I did see that off to the side. Thank you so much. It looks like 200 stars. So thank you so much. If I got that right, that might be actually Patrick Wiltsey, who I need to get to. This is Mr. Patrick Wiltsey right here. Aloha, sir. I am excited for this year. If Super Bowl appearance this season, we should have a watch party in Hawaii. It's funny you mentioned that. My wife's like, we need to get out of here. We need to take a vacation. She's like, we need to go see your friend in Hawaii. Well, who knows? Who knows? Maybe Hawaii is in the future. By the way, Lion Coffee over in Hawaii powers me up and gets me taken care of. I just got my recent shipment just today from Lion Coffee and couldn't be more stoked to crack that bag open and get started. So thank you so much, Patrick Wiltsey. I know that you're in charge of shipping over there. Check out Lion Coffee, lioncoffee.com today. Let's see. Keith, believe in the Broncos. We will shine. You know, I do have faith in these Broncos. Let's face it. It's been tough to be a Broncos fan for the last, I don't know, 8 years or so, at least. It's been a rough run. I think there's a lot of reasons to have faith in this Denver Broncos team. I think there's a fantastic direction that we're taking this team. Is it going to be enough? Are we there? Are we to the point that we're competitive for the AFC West championship? Are we competitive to have home field advantage? Are we competitive enough to get not only into the playoffs, but start winning playoff games? That's what we need to see. And I think we are there. I think we're on the verge. And I think there should be very high expectations of Sean Payton and Vance Joseph and Bo Nix and this entire team. I'm going to flip over to the offense here in just a second. There's a lot higher expectations, I think, that we need to get to when it comes to this offense. There is a ceiling that needs to be leveled up. And I think there'll be some more surprising statistics, I think, that we can talk about. But at the same time, I think there's more opportunity that is going to be able to be made, especially with some of the additions and what we've seen as far as the progression for the Denver Broncos. Before I go any further, I just want to talk about our amazing sponsor, Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets has been your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices for over 34 years. Once a nationwide company, now they're just in your backyard, northern Colorado, southern Wyoming, out there doing shows and touring around the whole area. If there's a fairgrounds near you with an event going on, I would check them out because more than likely you'll find Morgan Trinkets there. If there's a gem show, I almost guarantee you're going to find them there. If there's a dog show, you might find Morgan Trinkets. But if you're not in that area, you're not attending any of those shows, don't worry. Got you taken care of. Head on over to Etsy and type in Morgan Trinkets Co. Morgan Trinkets Co. will take you right to everything that Pearl has to offer. All that Southwest jewelry, pottery, estate gold at wholesale prices, and silver, sterling silver, 100% sterling silver as well. All orders over $50 are shipped absolutely free, and all major credit cards are accepted. Head on over to Morgan Trinkets Co. today and check out everything that Pearl has to offer. Pearl's been rocking it at all these shows, and can't wait to see all the amazing things that she's going to be able to do this summer. It's the fun time of year to be traveling and going to all these shows and just amazing pieces that Morgan Trinkets has to offer. I needed that sip. Thanks, everybody. I want to hit this offense now. Ernie Mays coming in and says, offense will match the defense, top 5 for both. The offense under a rookie quarterback, we can't all complain about. I got to get to one more comment from Dan before we get off the defense altogether. He says, I really hate zone defense as well. However, I know that you need to mix it up with man if you want, if you have the players like Barron, then it can be done. Yeah, not only that, but I think, again, if you want to be blitzing consistently, like the Denver Broncos did last year, that's why they got that number 1 in sacks with 63 overall for the year. By the way, second place, we had 63 on the year. Second place was 54. Just absolutely obliterated in sacks last year. That's made possible by a lot of blitzing that we did last year. That's made possible by mixing up man and zone. If you're always blitzing out of a man position, an offense is going to eat you up. You've got to show them a different look. You've got to confuse that quarterback. You've got to get a little bit of hesitation, especially, when you're also trying to get after the quarterback like that. That pairs up really well. Pairs up well for like 63 sacks sometimes. You got to play a little bit of both. And it hurts sometimes because that, man, we're a much better team in this position or that position, but not to the point that you can go out there against any offense, any Sunday, and just say that you're going to be able to do it all day long, all night long, especially as we get into these primetime games this next year. This is a great way to kind of transition because we do want to get over to this offense. Ernie May saying they'll match them and they'll be top 5, but Dan saying, what do you think? What are your thoughts on, and what is your take on wide receiver Pat Bryant? From the moment I started watching anything on Pat Bryant, basically, for the most part, I think I passed over most of his tape in the analysis part. I'll be honest. He wasn't on my radar prior to the draft. So a lot of it was done post. This is a guy that is 100% bought in. My favorite quote that I saw right off the top, obviously, was "No block, no rock." He says, in the way I was brought up and the way that my mentality was brought to the field is, if I ain't out there blocking, I shouldn't expect the rock. This guy is amazing in what he can do. He is truly a guy that can pull down a lot of different passes, has long arms, good reach, going to be a target over the middle. Something that we've been missing, especially from the wide receiver position. We've been lacking in that at the tight end position. We've all known that. But the wide receiver that goes over the middle, we've been wanting that. Tim Patrick was, let's face it, the best wide receiver in recent history that we've had, that we felt, hey, there's a guy that'll go over the middle, get the ball. That's the type of guy that you're getting with Pat Bryant. You're also lost little Jordan Humphreys from this Denver Broncos offense. And a lot of people would say, oh, well, little Jordan Humphreys, Keith, come on now. How much stock are you going to put in little Jordan Humphreys? Little Jordan Humphrey was the best blocking wide receiver Sean Payton had last year on this offense. We don't have to worry about that going from now to Pat Bryant. I don't see any type of drop off there. I think he is going to be absolute stud for Sean Payton, or should be, if given the opportunity. It's the only thing I'm ever concerned about with Sean Payton. He's going to be out there and he's going to be out there if he's doing his regular thing, bring along on a slow plan, like we've seen with a Riley Moss or, even Marvin Mims, how long it took for him to really start to truly get involved in this Denver Broncos offense. It'll be interesting, obviously, to see how he ever does that, however he does that. But outside of that, I think he has all the opportunity, to go out there and be a difference maker for the Denver Broncos. Just to give you an update on Morgan Trinkets, Longmont Dog Show next week. That's where you want to be if you want to be catching Morgan Trinkets live with that Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, State Gold wholesale prices, and of course that 100% sterling silver as well. Michael Ronquillo coming in and saying, "Good evening, Keith. Go Bo Broncos." Obviously, Michael maybe coming in a little bit. Oh, by the way, orange and blue hearts, mile high salute. Also letting me know that there's some Facebook stars coming in, which I appreciate, Michael. Our thoughts are going out to Trevor. Last I heard, he was in tornado warnings. So he's taking those seriously and making sure that, he's safe, family's safe, everyone's safe. And we're hoping that he comes back. That being said, trying to get everything aligned, being producer, being host, and Facebook stars. Thanks for the letting me know, because I can't keep it up with it all. I appreciate you very much, sir. I hope your evening is great. And he is also letting me know that Dan's given me some stars, and Dan's also saying great show. So thank you. I appreciate that, man. Everyone's taking care of me and everybody else on the show. You guys rock, man, because again, maybe not the biggest time of year for the Broncos. We'd love to be talking about Broncos wins or, especially after maybe a Thursday night football game right now. Instead, we're talking about a little bit off season and just expectations and all the additional comments, thoughts, questions. And then, of course, coming in here and dropping stars. We appreciate all the love. Let me see here. I wanted to get to one other one. Ernie May is coming in here and saying Pat Bryant will take over Sutton's job in 1 or 2 years. And there does need to be a succession plan for Courtland Sutton in place at some point. He's coming into his prime, as many would say, late 20s, early 30s, but then that quickly turns to out of your prime at 32, 33, 34. It's a quick roller coaster. So we do need to start getting a succession plan in place. And could Pat Bryant be that guy? Yeah, possibly. I could see it. It's going to take a little bit more development. I think that there's always another possibility of finding a better replacement, because I like the position that Pat Bryant will have in this offense this year and maybe going forward. But could he be flexed all the way out to be that number one? Yeah, you can absolutely have him out there. I would like to see an addition too. And maybe that's being me just being greedy, but that's what I like. Paul's coming in here. Paul saying, rumor has it might do joint practice with the Niners. And from what I've heard, and it makes sense with all of the new improvements out there at what do they call it? Centura Health Training Facility. It's going to be an away practice, joint practice. So put that in your a feather in your cap or whatever you would, whatever expression you want to use. That being said, I've heard that it's going to be an away practice. I hadn't heard the rumors as far as it being the 49ers, but I could see how that's going to be going, or how that would go. Hello, everyone, and happy start to the Memorial Day weekend. Sorry, I'm at work right now, but wanted to say hello to our posse. And that's Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick, one of the horsemen. You know him on Tuesday nights. We'll be rocking it again on Tuesday nights. You also know him if you checked out that Broncos Corral episode with former Super Bowl champion and former tight end for the Denver Broncos, Virgil Green. Man, that was such a fantastic podcast, man. It was truly an honor to talk to Virgil Green, and I got to cut up some more little reels and shorts for all you people out there on Facebook and YouTube, because you guys seem to like those a lot. I'll cut a few more of those up, but if you want, just go back and watch the entire episode. We have it out there, whether it be a Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify. You can check us out, everyone, where like, share, subscribe. Appreciate you guys all a ton. So, yeah, that podcast was legit. I appreciate it, man. And Kenny, go Broncos, says Ernie Mays. We appreciate all the love and support. And so Miss Pearl coming in saying hello to Kenny as well. So lots of love coming all the way around. And yes, of course, thoughts, prayers, everything's going out to Trevor and his family right now. Until I hear otherwise, which I'm hoping, I'll even check off to the side just really quick, make sure that didn't get any updates. Nothing as of yet. But again, we want him to be staying safe, and might have to be not on Facebook right now after a tornado or severe weather goes through your area. Let's just say severe weather has went through his area. This offense, though, let's run through this really quick. Stat-wise, when it came to completions, number 11 overall. 11th overall. We're talking about a rookie quarterback going out there, and he's already dang near a top 10 in completions his first year out. This is a offense that's needed a tight end, and Evan Ingram is, cross our fingers, coming in looking like the Joker, as he as he stated on the good old X out there. You know, this is a much upgraded. We just got done talking about Pat Bryant. That's going to be a huge addition to the passing side of this offense. 66.5% completion percentage for the Denver Broncos last year. Number 20th, though, overall in passing yards well, I won't talk about overall yards, 3,600 for the most part, but 202 yards per game. That was probably one of the more eye-opening ones. 20th overall in passing. Now, number 11 in completions, what does that mean? It really means that we weren't getting many passing yards per game, and not very high yard average either. It's one of the statistics, I thought I wrote it down, but one of the statistics that wasn't all that great was that overall, or not overall, but that yard average. I think if I remember correctly, it was like a 6.5 yard average was our average for passing from Bo Nix in this offense. Something that we'd like to see. Now, some missed opportunities on multiple sides. I did find it funny that I think that drops by Troy Franklin, if I remember hearing the number right, was 2 or 3 last year. I think it was more missed opportunities that I think that most people equate to as overall drops. There was missed opportunities on the Bo Nix side of things early, where he overshot him out of bounds. And I think a lot of people kind of in their mind with also the drops that we did see from Troy Franklin equated that to, hey, this guy isn't producing on the field. But I think he produced better than we all expected. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through some comments really quick. Okay, make sure that yeah, Dan's saying though that drop in the end zone though, ugh. And that was obviously, those ones like that are heartbreaker. But I think there's a lot of opportunity on this offense. We do need to see Marvin Mims, in my opinion. I wrote an article about it on Rocky Mountain Sports Network webpage, about how Marvin Mims needs to be more than a special teamer. I love that he's an all-pro special teamer, but I want him to start competing for more of an all-pro wide receiver. Troy Franklin, it would be great if he could take that next step up. Is Devon Vele that guy, being such a late round draft pick that's going to be a force on this offense? Or is, Pat Bryant as a rookie going to come in here and really start pushing some of these guys around? That's going to be the big question, but I think there's opportunity in there. It's going to be, we talked about Jade Barron coming in and competing. I think this is going to be a very, very competitive group. When you have a rookie wide receiver that was taken as high as Pat Bryant was, and he's competing among some of these other guys who have came in a year or two before, but maybe not as high as Pat Bryant was selected. That's an interesting dynamic to kind of come into. So I think that the training camp at wide receiver, the competition at wide receiver is going to be another key camp battle as we kind of go through these statistics. That being said, number 8 in passing TDs with 30 overall, number 15 in interceptions with 12 last year, and the number that I think Sean Payton would be the most proud of, almost out of all of them, 29th in sacks, just 24 overall on the season. Did our quarterbacks take, basically Bo Nix take in this last year? He stayed upright. He didn't take sacks, and that was key, for Sean Payton. He talked about it, in his evaluation with quarterbacks, even heading into this year. He was just asked about it, and he said, one of the things is that quarterbacks that take sacks in college typically take sacks in the NFL. And if you look at Bo Nix's college career, he was not a guy that took sacks. He might have been proclaimed as a quick pass, a quick outlet type of quarterback, and maybe his overall yard average last year maybe showed a little bit more of that. That's where he had his best accuracy, especially early in the season. Seemed like he got better and better, though, as the season went on at passes further downfield. And obviously has the ability and the capability and the knowledge to see and understand what's happening on the field in order to get those passes down there. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like in year 2 with better weapons, Evan Ingram, Pat Bryant coming in, development of Marvin Mims, development of Troy Franklin, seeing where a Devon Bailey fits, seeing all these pieces and parts come together. But the last piece of this, when we come to the offensive side of the ball, and I'll hit some comments really quick before I do that. Mr. Michael Ronquillo tell me he dropped some stars, and thank you again, Mr. Michael Ronquillo. I'll get caught up, and we'll figure out how much thanks I need in here. He says, Keith, what is your successful 2025 season for quarterback Bo Nix in his second year in the NFL with the Denver Broncos? How do you define a successful season for a quarterback in his second year? I mean, statistically, I guess I would love to see some of those numbers maybe improve. Maybe his completion percentage improves and his yard average improves. But honestly, what you're looking for me, is the leadership to continue. This team truly has the ability to be a quarterback's team for the first time since Sean Payton. Truly be, this is Bo Nix's team. This was Peyton Manning's team. This was John Elway's team. He has to continue to, even in the toughest of times, which he's shown, to continue to be strong, but continue to elevate his game at the same time. Can't be empty words. I think, not to talk cross about anybody, but I think that's what we had with Russell Wilson. We had empty words. It never felt like he was truly the leader of the team, the leader of all the men, even though he posed himself to be so. I think that Bo Nix has that ability, and that's what success looks like in the long term for this team. I think if Bo Nix is out there leading in that way, then a lot of these other things continue to fall into place. it's amazing what confidence does for the rest of your offense. If they go out there and they truly know, hey, that's not my guy, you know, I want to go out there, I'm going to do everything because that's my guy, because he told me to and he expects me to. He's that extension of the coach on the field. That's what I think that you need to continue to see from Bo Nix. If you get that from Bo Nix, I think a lot of other things fall into place. But great question. Statistically, I could go through and I could probably talk about numbers and the whole 9 yards, Michael. But we need to continue to see the development of a quarterback that is a little bit older. So he's coming in with that experience, and I think that's starting to show and play out. And I absolutely love the direction that this team has. I think, I saw a recent interview about the process that Sean Payton goes through in order to find the quarterback and find the players, and they alluded to Bo Nix and just again the character of the person and how much that weighs into the equation of their selections and their draft picks. I think you got a high character player. Let's see. Let's see. Paul's coming in here now. I know he's trying to correct himself, so I was reading the correction. He says Moss is often injured. Part of the reason we got Barron. Yeah, I mean he's had his injury issues. I think one of the things that concerns me the most is just how strong he was when he came back. You know what I mean? And so that's a big question for me, kind of moving forward. Didn't seem like he got his full legs underneath him. Nice to be able to stop, or maybe start brand new when that's as far as that's concerned. I'm just reading through the comments. You guys are just absolutely awesome. Let's get to this part because Phil's dropped some stars, and this is the other part of the offense I wanted to talk about. He says everything works better with the running game. This running game, let's talk about this running game really quick. Number 13 overall in rushing attempts. Number 16th overall in rushing yards. I think that was somewhat surprising to me. And maybe should be surprising to you, Broncos country. Number 11th overall in passing attempts and passing completions, and number 13th overall in rushing attempts, and number 16th overall in rushing yards. Number 16 with 112 rushing yards per game. That was higher than I anticipated. Higher than our defense allowed at 96 yards per game. Number 23 in rushing touchdowns with only 12. And number 11 in rushing first downs with 12.4. I don't know if that's right. 124 rushing first downs. So again, not abysmal numbers like I think most of us kind of expected. Love Javonte Williams, but Javonte Williams had probably every right to have his critics at times last season. I would like to see this offensive line be put in a better position. I think they could do a lot more trap blocking, a lot more zone traps on the front, and I think that's when they excelled the most. When I went back and looked at the tape, so I would like to see more of that. But obviously, the biggest addition to this running back room, and Paul's nailed it right here, is R.J. Harvey. Javonte Williams is gone. Audric Estime is going to come in here and he's going to compete, and Sean Payton said so. But there's plenty of people now that R.J. Harvey has gotten a few looks around Broncos country that are excited. And I don't think it's just Sean Payton, it's Broncos country as well. And I think there's good reason for it. I was a big proponent of R.J. Harvey, and I think that he's going to, as mentioned by Phil and his stars, thank you, Phil, but that it brings a different dynamic to this Denver Broncos offense. Now, I don't want it to get lost. We all talked about how bad this tight end position has been, how badly it's been ranked among the NFL. So when you go in here and you look at this new addition of Evan Ingram, if it turns out to be everything we expect it to be, then that's going to help a lot of different pieces, including the running game. And the running game is going to help the passing game. There's a lot of expectations. I think, on RJ Harvey, on Audric Estime, on Evan Ingram, on Pat Bryant, Marvin Mims. But I think the biggest thing, Broncos country, I think there's a lot of expectations that needs to be put on Sean Payton and Vance Joseph. Third year now together. Here's a 17-year head coach. Here's just to let you know, 2023 and 2024 rank as Sean Payton's 4th and 5th worst record as a head coach. Now, keep in mind, there's 4 seasons tied for the first number 1 overall position. So that does kind of re-rank it, I guess. You could add another 3 to that. You could say it's his 7th and 8th worst seasons overall as a head coach. At some point, we need to start flipping the table, and we need to start seeing better production out of our football team. I think we're in prime position. We have a rookie a quarterback under a rookie contract. We have one of the younger teams, except where it really counts. On that offensive line, on that defensive line, we have some veterans that know what to do and how to get it done. We've brought in an injection of youth when it comes to the cornerback position, the running back position, the wide receiver position. We've upgraded the tight end to somebody that Sean Payton's been talking about for a long time. The expectations for this Denver Broncos team needs to be elevated to the nth degree, in my opinion. For Sean Payton, it's elevated very high. This opportunity that we're looking at doesn't come about. The window is small. We all, we started off the conversation. Go out there, sign Zach Allen. Go out there, sign John Franklin Myers. Great, go ahead, get it done. I get it. Before you know it, you're going to be having to get Bo Nix taken care of. Before you know it, you're going to have to figure out exactly, and this is short term, where Cortland Sutton's going to land. What about Marvin Mims when he comes around the corner? What if Patrick Surtain's contract needs to be adjusted because he's playing as a top elite cornerback, but that contract that he's playing under no longer shows that, because the cornerback position keeps, again, getting paid better and better and better, and it doesn't seem like that's going to be changing at all. You can't have Patrick Surtain be in the 20th paid cornerback if he's performing at the same level that he is right now. This window is short, especially with the talent that you have on the team. Expectations are high. We'll continue to talk about this team and what they should be able to do in the 2025 season all throughout the offseason. And I'm sure as we get into the regular season as well, and certainly preseason and all that fun as well. But I guess, Broncos country, as I look across this, not only are our expectations high, but our hopes are high. And I talked about it last year about how something's different this year. And it continues to burn and get bigger and grow. There's a lot of excitement, and there's a reason to be excited in Broncos country. It only continues to build. This is going to be a big key year. And if things align like they should, I'm expecting a big jump. We'll talk more about that. But I want you all to go out there. I want you to have a fantastic, fantastic Memorial Day weekend. Thank you to everybody who came in here, helped me out with the show as I rode solo on a Friday night. You guys were absolutely amazing. For those who I know drop stars, Phil, Michael Ronquillo, bless you. Thank you. Appreciate you very much. All of y'all in the posse, though, you guys are absolutely amazing. We continue to grow, get bigger. It's the reason I think that, a former Denver Bronco tight end, Super Bowl champion like Virgil Green comes over here, takes a look, sees what we do, see what we've been doing, see how big our audience is, and says, you know what? Absolutely. Let's go ahead and book a time to go on that show. It's all because of you all. So please like, share, subscribe. Make sure you're telling all your friends, family members who are Broncos country through and through to go ahead and take a look with us and come along for the ride. Let's have some fun. We'd love to be interactive with everybody if we possibly can, if time allows and allows me to go out there and produce. It's a little bit tougher on a solo show. So thank you, everyone who's stuck with me this evening. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate it as always. That's what they're saying. That should be coming right out of my mouth as well. Same goes here. You guys are absolutely amazing. Please, please, please go out there. Have a fantastic but safe Memorial Day weekend. Of course, we'll be back on Tuesday as scheduled. We go live every Tuesday, every Friday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But we got to get out of here. Hope you all have, like I said, a fantastic weekend. But we get out here one way only. Make sure you keep those boots in the stirrups, guns in the holsters, and of course, those Denver Broncos right there in your heart. Until next time, I'm going to get out of here. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be safe.